Hi grade 7s, as you can see, I'm back with your very first drama lesson. So let's get ready. Right, before we left at the end of term 1, we had a short discussion about modulation. Okay, and we had a discussion about choral verse. So I'm just going to go over those two concepts really quickly. So choral verse is a poem said in unison. Very simple, very straightforward. It is any poem at all, ever, with more than one person performing it. Okay? And we use things like gestures, facial expressions, and modulation to make our choral verse more interesting. So we're going to look at those concepts: gestures, body movements, simple, straightforward. They have to make sense with what you're saying. If they don't make sense, then they don't add value to your poem. Right, that's gestures. Facial expressions. Now, the thing with facial expressions is they have to match the mood or the feeling of the poem you're saying. Okay, we can't have a sad poem and a happy face. We have to look at the overall feeling of the poem or the feeling of each line and match our facial expression to that feeling. Otherwise, it won't make sense. Once again, it doesn't add any value. Right. And the third and final thing was modulation. Now, there are 7 types of modulation. Okay. We have pitch, which is to speak in a high or low voice. Pace, fast or slow. Pause, which means to stop for dramatic effect or to allow the audience to understand what you are saying. Okay, so pauses are very important because they can add drama to your poem. They can add suspense. You can grab your audience by using pauses, okay? Right, so that's pitch, pace, pause, volume. Volume is how loud or soft you speak, right? Pitch, pace, pause, volume. Tone is the feeling or the mood, okay? Like I said, with the lines, we have to identify the feeling and it helps with our facial expression. So the tone of the poem helps you to understand how you as an actor want your audience to see and feel during your poem. So what they see and how they feel when you are performing. Okay? So mood or tone helps us to create feeling when we're speaking. Pitch, pace, pause, volume, tone, inflection. Now with inflection, the thing is there is an upper inflection and a lower inflection. So they're used at specific times. Right, so we have an upper inflection where there's a question. Did you know that? Your voice goes up a bit at the end. And when we have a statement, our voice falls, which is a lower inflection. Yes, I knew that. It falls at the end on the very last word before the full stop. Right. Pitch, pace, pause, volume, tone, inflection, and last but not least, emphasis. Emphasis is when we stress or highlight a specific word to make it seem important. So if you take a line and you're like, I want them to understand this particular word, you're going to emphasize it. You're going to push it. Right. So those are all the concepts we learned. So what we're going on to now is, I'd like for you to find your very own poem, okay? So what you need to do is, you need to find a book, get someone to help you find one online, any poem at all. It should be, I want to say, between 5 and 10 lines long so that it's not too long for you to learn. You are going to get that poem, right? Once you've got that poem, what you need to do is you need to identify the mood, right? Now you've got your poem, you've identified the mood, the feeling, all of that, and start working on it. Add your modulation to that poem. Now remember, I'm going to ask you to perform this poem later in the term. So you are going to be working on that particular poem for a while. Choose something you like. It can be any genre. It can be any mood. It can be anything creative. It can be as creative as you like. Find the poem. Connect with it. Make sure you like the poem. And then from there, you can start adding modulation to it. Right, that is all from me, and stay tuned for your next drama lesson. Bye.